Doc is on
Yeah.
the press
Go.
conference talking about the
Live.
Jets.
Live.
Come on in the room. Come on in the room. The Bucks winning tonight, 118-113 over the Brooklyn Nets. It looked shaky for a little bit. Looked a little shaky to start this thing out. But the Bucks absolutely come on with it. 118-113. Come on in the room. Doc is our doctor. He writes out all our scripts. He gives us our medicine in our room. We are live. It's the Cream City Crossover Guru Truck Observer.
Justin.
Chris King. See, it's Sunday, man.
There we go.
It's Sunday scaries right now.
Sunday scare. Hey, yo, scared. Hey, well, I know it was some Sunday scares for Damian Lillard, but I'm gonna let that slide for the moment right now on Dame. Again, a good night, a good game today. It ended up being fun. First half was, like I said, boring and just uninterested basketball. But that third quarter was great when Giannis put up 13 in the third quarter, and that fourth quarter was again that was high level shot making on both sides. So again, congrats to the Brooklyn Nets. They brought it. At home, they absolutely did. I mean, I didn't say no team deserved to lose. But I was impressed with the Brooklyn Nets, who had already beaten Milwaukee, I believe, by 13 or 14 the first time they played in Brooklyn. And so the Bucks are coming off a loss to the Boston Celtics. So you should want to go ahead and get this dub. Like, you should be invested and interested in winning this basketball game. But they didn't look late in the first half. And in the second half, they did what they needed to do to get the win. And Dennis Schroder was phenomenal too. 118-113. It was a win on a Sunday. A lot of stuff going on. We appreciate you guys being in the room tonight. If you're on the chat on YouTube, talk to us. We'll get to your comments and everything there. If you're on the Twitter, we will get your comments there as well at TCIIESQ. Let's have some fun tonight, boys, and let's talk about it with the game recap starting there. Giannis Antetokounmpo, hey, he just gets his numbers. He is going to get his numbers every single time. He just is. It is what it is. 34, 11, and 4. I think he had 3 blocks tonight, including a huge one on Dennis Schroder late in the fourth quarter. Big time play. 14 of 22 from the field. Hey, no threes tonight. No threes. Didn't take one. He was 6 of 10 from the free throw line. 3 turnovers tonight, a plus 10 on the night. Taurean Prince, no points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. I think he'll be better. He only had 18 minutes, non-factor. Brook Lopez, 26 minutes, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 1 of 4 from the field, 2 from 3, non-factor. Andre Jackson Jr., he was a factor. 6 points, 2 assists, 2 steals. He closed out the game for the Milwaukee Bucks the last 8 minutes of the basketball game. So congrats to him. Damian Lillard played 38 minutes, 15, 11, and 6. Found ways to impact the game, but overall was not a really good game from Damian Lillard. He finished with 7 turnovers. He was a turnover machine tonight. Didn't shoot the ball well. I think in the first half he only took 3 attempts. He took 7 shots tonight, all 3-pointers. That's not basketball, Damian Lillard. That's not basketball. You taking 7 shots through the entire game, and you at all 3-pointers. Didn't even. I mean, I was not impressed today with Damian Lillard. AJ Green, 6 points. How about one time for Bobby Portis? We're gonna get to Bobby Portis, and we got something special for y'all coming up. But Bobby Portis, have a day, because we talk about you. I think a lot of people in Milwaukee have had the conversation about Bobby Portis. 23, 5, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks from Bobby Portis, 9 of 10 from the field, 5 of 5 from 3. Hey, I don't. Hey, he might have. He must have found who robbed his house, because that boy feeling good today. And then Chris Middleton, 11 points, 20 minutes. You can tell he's still working his way back, 6 assists, but some clutch 3-point shots from Chris Middleton. At least, they called 1 to 2. He had a foot on the line there. And then Gary Trent Jr. was your next man. This is what you look for when you go, who? This is the difference between when I look at Milwaukee and I look at Boston. And it's like you got multiple guys that are going to step up, and you don't know who it's going to be for Boston every day. Is it going to be Sam Hauser? Is it going to be Peyton Pritchard? Is Al Horford going to do it? Is that? I know you're looking at me, but I'm just saying these are the type of performances that you look at when you see the upper echelon teams have. And you saw tonight, Bobby Portis gives you 23, Gary Trent Jr. gives you 20, and then, oh, by the way, when Chris Middleton gets up to speed and is playing, I can't wait to see what else. He's going to be in that range too. So you saw that good stuff from him tonight. On the Brooklyn side of things, Nick Claxton had a big game, 21, 10, and 4. Cam Johnson, 26, 3, and 2. Dennis Schroder killed the Bucks tonight, 34 and 11 from him. He was really good, a +6 on the night. Brooklyn starters, here's the thing. This is like a reverse of what I used to see from the Bucks last year, where the Brooklyn starters actually beat the Milwaukee starters tonight. But the Bucks bench, I can't remember the number. I think it was a huge number. The Bucks bench outscoring the Brooklyn bench tonight, and that was the difference in the game. The Bucks others
60-17.
Thank you. 60-17, the Milwaukee Bucks bench outscored the Brooklyn Nets bench. And that was a key difference in the game. Again, we talked about it for a second, but the first half, uninterested, uninspired basketball. But in that third quarter, I think, and it really was, it wasn't like it was the whole third quarter. It was late, I believe, with about 3 minutes. I have a tweet. I can't find it. About 3 minutes left to play in the third quarter. The Bucks were down 12. And it was around that time, maybe a little before, where Giannis gives you 15 in the third, but you're down 12 with 3 minutes to go. That game was tied going into the fourth. That was the difference in the basketball game, was that you had this thing tied with 3 minutes. You're down 12 with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. You head to the fourth quarter, and it's tied. Everything stepped up from the Bucks, and including Brooklyn too. But in the first two quarters, 27 and 24 points scored for the Milwaukee Bucks. In the third and the fourth, 35 and 32 points scored in the fourth quarter and third and fourth quarter for Milwaukee Bucks. So that was a big difference. And you win both the third and the fourth quarter. There are a lot of people talking about the Bucks' third quarters. Well, again, it was a lot of Giannis, but you got what you needed to get done, and you worked on it and figured out a way to win. High quality shot making on both sides in the fourth quarter. Bucks just had a little bit more. And oh, by the way, they had some defensive stops mixed in with it. You had Andrew Jackson Jr., who came into the game and played well last 8 minutes of the game. The only person who could really defend Dennis Schroder at all. You had Bobby Portis stepping up, making plays on the defensive side of the ball. And oh, by the way, going 5-5-3. You had Giannis and his presence and what he does out there on the floor at all times. And you had Chris Middleton handling the ball and doing what he did too. And Gary Trent Jr., clutch shots all over the court as well. So a really good job from the Bucks, finding a way. You didn't want to lose another one. 118-113. That's what I saw today. What'd you see?
Man, I saw a lot of good stuff, a lot of stuff that you mentioned. The only thing I could catch from Doc's post game, I don't know what's going on over there with Justin Garcia, but all I got is that Bobby and Ajax really frustrated Dennis Schroder in that pick and roll, because he was killing us with that pick and roll all game in the fourth quarter and at the end. And then he was talking about, did the New York Jets win and were there any upsets in the NFL? So I guess when you have great come from behind wins like that, that's all we're going to roll with, which is cool because we don't even need to go to Doc. We got the guru on the joint with us, so we just go to what he says, right? Hey, man, look, Giannis Antetokounmpo, for them dumb people in Boston, since we got cut off because they hacked our live stream, them dumb people in Boston talking about Jason Tatum is a better basketball player than Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's already ahead of it. Go watch the tape. Oh, and shout out to all them people that don't think he has a bag, because I think you said it on Twitter, Trey. He might have the best mid-range jumper in all of the NBA right now.
Absolutely.
Including Deuce on his team. Hey, you already know what I got to say about Bobby. Like, we ain't even got to go there because, I just say Bobby. Shout out to Cavalier Johnson, Bobby's cousin. Hey, Gary Trent Jr. He came in there, and he's the dude we expected him to be. These guys are who we thought they were, in the words of the great, illustrious Mike Singletary, and they're doing it. Hey, like you said, man, great defense by Andre Jackson Jr. I thought he did a good job in learning from some of the foul baiters he's had to guard, and he didn't go for a lot of that stuff on Schroder. He got one bad one, but that's okay, though. We'll live with that. We still got to clean up this sloppy play, though. Too many turnovers, too many bad, ill-advised shots at times during the game, and that's kind of why we were in that hole. We talked about the bench, and I know there's going to be a lot said that the reason why that bench score was so great because of Chris Middleton coming off the bench, but it's not just Chris, because Gary Trent Jr. and Bobby went crazy like we just talked about, man. Just great resiliency, man. Find a way, like you mentioned, we're down 12. It's looking like the sky is falling. We're going on an 0-2 road trip coming into this NBA Cup that none of those other teams that we talked about last time are in. And we came back with a positive note, man. And then my last thing, man, before I kick it to my guy, Chris King. Hey, man, Chris Middleton is showing us bits and spurts of why this guy is who he is. I know earlier on in a previous podcast, I was asking, could he give you what Taurean Prince was giving you? Not talking about basketball players, just coming off the injury. And I think even in these bits and pieces, 30% of Chris Middleton is better than 75% of 100% of a lot of role players. So I'm excited, man. Great win. Hey, man, go get him, Chris King.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I feel like for the upper part of about 30 minutes in this game, I felt like this was probably as lazy as it got. Like, this was not getting back in transition on defense after a missed shot. This was losing your man, slow closeouts. This was, bad transition offense, bad offense. I think at one point in the third quarter, I think we had like 13 turnovers with like 8 minutes to play, something like that. Like, it was bad. And then all of a sudden a flip switched, and then guys started playing hard. And I think that's what ultimately allowed us to get this dub. I think Ajax, I got to definitely shout out to Ajax, because I feel like he was left open multiple times, and he, instead of hesitating and trying to look for somebody to just give it to real quick, he shot the ball. And what happens when you shoot? He made it. He made it a couple times. So, like seeing that, I think he provided a lot of effort. We'll talk about some of the rotations and how he was put back into the game and how big that was. But, yeah, Bobby, big shots down the stretch. Chris Middleton, big shots down the stretch. This is what we love to see right off of the injury. We didn't want Chris to come back and look rusty, and he really helped us tonight down the stretch. Gary Trent Jr., he was a microwave, and that's what you brought him in here for. Just glad to see us get this win after a tough loss versus Boston. Good win from the Bucks.
I'm just looking, and I omitted to talk about there was one guy in particular I'm just looking at the stats. Ben Simmons had 0 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. Oh my. Ben Simmons has gone, and I just mentioned that, Chris, because you started talking about Andre Jackson Jr. shooting the ball. I mean, there was a time, and Ben Simmons didn't take one. He had 0 shot attempts tonight. He played 17 minutes. Ben Simmons came into. Do you remember? I'm old enough to remember people saying people talking about how they were comparing Ben Simmons to Giannis and saying Ben Simmons was better than Giannis. This, that, and third. Nah, I'm way past that. But it wasn't right then, and you should apologize tenfold if that thought ever crossed your mind. Ben Simmons looks like a guy. That's what he looks. He looks. What Steve Smith say? He's a jag. He is just a guy. He doesn't. And I remember who was announcing tonight, because it wasn't Doris. Dave Kane. Dave Kane was doing color tonight. I mean, it was doing TV. Okay, yep. That's right. So Dave Kane and there was a moment in the game where Ben Simmons got the ball, and Ben Simmons got it almost like one of those plays from early season we talked about Ajax, where you get the ball and you don't even look at the basket. And I think he made the comment and said Ben Simmons not even looking to shoot. I mean, that's what Ben Simmons has turned into. We've talked about him before, but I mean, he's a waste. He is wasting space. 6'10". He's a waste. Man, dog. What a waste of God-given talent and ability, Ben Simmons, man. But again, enjoy your money. You wanted life. But man, what a huge disappointment Ben Simmons has been to the NBA world. But anyway, I had to get up because I was just looking. I was like, damn, he had 0 points tonight. He didn't impact. I mean, impact 0. Go ahead.
That possession you're talking about too. He was like 1.5 feet from the goal.
Right.
He could have turned around at 6'10", and you should be able to shoot a hook. I mean, I look at my little grandson. He'll shoot the ball from 2 feet away from the darn bucket. Like, what are we doing, Ben? But then not only that you mentioned, but on the defensive end, he was a walking barbecue chicken for Giannis today.
Yep. Always has been. Always has been. Let's get to some of the comments. At Shahef says, yes, sir. D11 King says, second. 414J says, give old Bobby some love, bro. Game ball, Bobby. Deshaun Hill says, Bobby said ball game. The medical drug dealer says, Bobby must have heard Trey's trash talk. Amon B says, never trade Bobby. I'm not going that far, but Bobby Portis, and listen, 100% all the love goes to Bobby Portis. And you know what? So much love is going to go to Bobby Portis for this program. What we going to do for the people? What we going to do for the people, Justin? What we going to do for them?
So, I was up here cleaning up, found something. So if this okay with y'all, we going to find a way. You got to be following Cream City Crossover on YouTube and Twitter.
Yep.
And what you got to do is comment in the comment section or on Twitter, Bobby.
What I got to say?
Bobby.
If you comment right now, Bobby. If you're on Twitter or on YouTube. We're going to give you the rest. Comment Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. You have to be following the Cream City crossover. Subscribe to the channel right now. But if you're subscribed, you also look on the Twitter or the YouTube. Comment Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. We'll enter you guys into a raffle. I'll find, and then we'll put you in there, and we'll get that signed. What? Hold up one more time. Because I'm gonna get these people. Hold up, my bad. Hold up one more time for the people. Cream City crossover with the giveaways, baby. There, oh man, with the WWE Championship belt. Oh man, I love it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're giving that away. A little poster for you guys. If you can do that, we will. Somebody lucky will get that, especially if you appreciate Bobby Portis. But that's how much we appreciate Bobby Portis out here at the Cream City crossover. I see the Bobby's coming on in 40%. We be cooking. Iron Man Clan TV says it's painful watching Ben Simmons, and DJ Droop TV comes in with the eyeballs. Yeah, again, and I'll just say this one more time since we was on Bobby Portis. I'm not one of those guys that wants players to do bad. I promise I don't. And I've never been a guy that wants players to not do well. Okay. Bobby Portis, the issue is that at all times we're gonna hold people accountable, just like we did last year, Chris King, with Damian Lillard, and just like I could do it today with Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard was not good today. I don't know if what happens is when you build upon those performances, and it's okay, you're not good today, but I'm not going to get on Damian Lillard because he's played well throughout the season. But last year it was game after game after game after game, and he kept building upon. I'm looking at Dennis Schroder going for 34 and 11, and you getting outplayed. You want to be known as a top 5 point guard, a top 3. You want to still be in that category. And consistently last year, the Dennis Schroders of the world. The Brooklyn didn't have Cam Thomas, but I saw Cam Thomas, the Jalen Brunksons of the world, the John Morants of the world, those type of players, which I'm ready to play a lot last year, but the Trae Youngs, those type of players outplayed their counterpart, Damian Lillard. And I'm sitting here like, yo, why is that happening? We have to get into it. Well, Bobby Portis has had a lot of the same type of things going for what we ask him to do. He has not been able to do that. Now tonight, and again, I'm not even asking for 23-5. I'm not asking you to go 9 for 10. Like I said, that's not, because that's the thing, DJ Drew. We know that's not sustainable. We know Bobby Portis 9 for 10 is not sustainable. It's just not. But what you can do is play hard-nosed defense, which I saw him do tonight, hustle to the basketball, which I saw him do tonight. Now in the first half, Bobby Portis, it was a little bit rough around edge, but he hit shots. And tonight, what do we always talk about, Chris King? If you hit shots, you can stay on the floor. But also, Bobby Portis tonight did it. Not only just hitting shots, but he played defense, had some big-time stops, big-time key blocks. He was good tonight. He was exceptional tonight. And yeah, 100%. When you play well, I give you credit. I give you the praise. When you don't, I don't. That's just how it goes. I'm never gonna change that. So 100%, I'm all in on the Bobby Portis stuff. It was an excellent night for number 9.
And I think the fair thing to realize is that we're all fans of the front of the jersey, right? The back of the jersey is something that comes along, but I mean, I think I even gave a little bit of smoke last night the other night to Giannis with the ill-advised 3-point attempt. And, you talked me down off the ledge a little bit and talked about the shot selection and whatnot and how, but we ain't got to go back into that. But look, DJ Drew, I almost sent it to you, but I kind of feel like the homie said, like, Bobby's like your cousin or something. So we just off the rip. Hey, send it to Drew because that's Bobby's biggest fan outside of me. Look, man, if Giannis has a bad game, if Dame has a bad game, if Middleton has a bad game, we've talked about DeLon Wright not handling the ball to the highest level of his ability. We've talked about Doc Rivers messing up. We've talked about Derry Bird can't throw the ball in Lake Michigan. You got to be an equal opportunist. And at the end of the day, I know I can speak for the 3 brothers on this podcast and also the brother that's on load management. Shout out to Chris King, the brother that's on load management tonight. We all want the Bucks to have a parade down Wisconsin Avenue. And we're critical of them because we expect better from them, and we expect them to be one of the best teams in this NBA this year.
Yeah, I feel like the common denominator with Bobby Portis is that when he lets the game come to him, he's normally pretty good. Like tonight, that's what I saw. He got open. He knocked down the open ones. He was passing the ball well out of the post. Normally, I don't really see much of Bobby passing out of the post, but tonight he had a laser pass to a corner three. Like, that's what happens when you let the game come to you, and that's the Bobby we get when he does let the game come to him and is playing smart basketball. Obviously, averages kind of even out once you shoot as bad as you did versus Boston, so I was expecting Bobby to be a little bit better tonight, and he definitely surpassed that expectation. So I loved it, and then also the confidence to just be taking those kind of shots down the stretch is something you definitely like and really helped us out tonight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one quick thing. Hey, Drew, we ain't talking about Lopez yet. We only 3 minutes into this. We just got done with the game recap. And Trey mentioned Lopez and Dame were bad tonight. So just stay locked in, my brother. Put the Bobby in the comments because we might send it to you. But we going to get on everybody. Don't worry about it. It's coming.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, we do the same thing 100%. And so let's go ahead. Since Drew wants to talk about Brook Lopez, let's talk about Brook Lopez. And again, this is the thing about Brook Lopez, because I think I want to talk about Brook and I want to talk about Dame as well before we get to the next topic about the rotations. But that's the thing about Brook Lopez is he is at this point in his career, he's always going to be matchup dependent. And there was a time where the matchups really didn't matter. Even if he had a bad matchup against him, he found ways to impact and be really effective. But he's getting in the same kind of boat with Bobby, where you're either shooting the ball well, or now the difference is he can also affect the game and blocking shots from a defense side and rim protecting. But you're either doing one of those two things well, or you're not really able to help. And again, it's really matchup dependent because anybody athletic can really frustrate him and get him out of his game. So Nick Claxton tonight, again, 21, 10, and 4, a guy who can rebound the basketball, has a little hook shot, has a little offensive game. And even though he didn't have a three-point shot to really pull Brook out, it still just wasn't the best of games. It wasn't the best of nights for Brook Lopez. And yeah, he had a rough time. And I think the other thing is, if you notice, there weren't a ton of just straight line drives to the basket or getting to the basket for Brooklyn. What they shoot from three, Brooklyn was 16 of 35 from three, 45%. So they shot really well from three. I thought they shot the ball from a jump shooting perspective really well. But I didn't feel like they just attacked the rim outside of Nick Claxton, laying the ball up. A ton of Dennis Schroder's connection. He was 13, 19, 4 of 7 from three, but he was hitting from the mid-range. But it wasn't like he was just getting to the basket. And that's what Brook Lopez needs, is guys really attacking him to get there. I just didn't see a ton of that. Cam Johnson, who had 26 points, 8 of his shots were three-point attempts as well. So again, it just wasn't like everybody was just converging upon Brook Lopez at the basket. And again, if that's the strength of your game and another team is not really coming inside to that and making you play at your best ability, he becomes a lost kind of cause. And I think that's what happened. And again, that's why, and then we'll get to it in a second, I thought that Doc Rivers did an excellent job figuring out how to close his game. And again, until you get Chris back at full strength and until you figure out exactly what you want to do, Doc Rivers is going to have to coach his ass off. Like he just is going to. I know he be bent down all the time. He's going to have to really coach, because you have so many, and that's the key, and that's the thing that John Horst has to figure out. This team has flaws. Like, there's no doubt about it. You have a guy, Andre Jackson Jr., you have to figure out on what times and what nights you can play Andre Jackson Jr., because tonight it made sense. The next night, he may be 5 minutes in the first quarter, and you may not see him again for most of the night. Like, and tonight there was a player who was exploiting the Bucks defense. That's what you had to do. You had to figure that thing out. So Doc Rivers did an excellent job. But yeah, and Brook Lopez not being on the floor late in the game was part of that, which allowed, I think somebody mentioned in the comments, that allowed Giannis to play the 5.
Yeah, so in the words of the great Packers safety Leroy Butler, man, those guys on the other side get paid too, no matter what team we're talking about, right? And one thing that's going to happen is every game, someone in our defensive scheme is going to be the target, and they're going to get buckets on it. Whether it's Dame, whether it's Brook, whether it's Bobby, whether it's AJ Green, whoever the case may be. I thought that this was not Brook's best game, but as far as the athletic bigs, I think kind of what Chris King was alluding to with Bobby, Brook has to let the game come to him. when he gets overzealous and he's trying to block everything and stuff like that, instead of staying in his lane and kind of controlling that middle. Because the biggest thing with Claxton, a lot of his stuff wasn't throw the ball in the post, back to the basket, go to the bucket, and get the score. His stuff is catching them rebounds. And Brooke, you may not get 12 rebounds a game. Okay, we know what you are. We're cool with that. But I need that 7-foot, 250-plus frame to box guys out to allow these other guys to get the rebounds. And we saw a lot of those guys, Claxton, Sharp, Finney-Smith, guys grabbing offensive rebounds. So that's what I need from Brooke. It wasn't his best effort, but, hey, I don't cook Bobby when Bobby has a struggling game. I don't cook AJ. I don't cook Dame. Like, I'm going to say the same thing that I've consistently said about every player on this team from 1 to 15 and the coaching staff. If your A game is not on, find a way to impact the rest of the game. And that's why we got 14 other guys on this team to pick up the slack for that night. Now watch Tuesday. Brooke is probably going to be the guy, and maybe Bobby will have not the best game, or Dame, or whomever. It's okay. We got 15 guys who can hoop, and I think we got 15 of the best hoopers in the league.
All right.
Yeah, to me, I'm going to just go ahead and agree with Trey. Like, I just think this is a bad matchup for Brooke, and it's going to tend to be that way when you have a young, kind of athletic and very energetic big like Claxton. I felt like he did the dirty work today, and that's really what he's known for. I mean, he's normally a double-double guy, and, Brooke has always been this big that kind of clears out space and allows his teammates to rebound the ball. But sometimes that doesn't work if there's a guy going up there and ready to dunk it, So I just feel like bad matchup for Brooke. And, that's good on Doc for kind of realizing that, right? He didn't play as much as, some of the other guys. And, you switch Giannis to the 5. And, I just think it's a bad matchup for Brooke. And we got to just be on top of that when that does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how I feel about it with Brooke Lopez. And again, I'm surprised, Justin, you don't have any harsher words when you see a Brooke Lopez. You just told me he cost you about $10,000 on the missing out on the rebound for a parlay. And that's why I'm upset at Dame Lillard, because I needed 20 points from Dame Lillard. I thought that was a gimme. That was supposed to be the gimme of the parlay, and Dame only got me 15. I know they say nobody cares about my parlays, but I care about them. So I can have some problem with you. So Dame Lillard, I'm going to get to him again before we get to the Doc Rivers rotation. I see the Bobby's coming in. I promise you, we are taking note. We will get them all after the show, and we'll also look at it on Twitter as well, and we'll get this thing sorted out for you.
We doing that Tuesday for the cup game?
We can. So okay, perfect. What we'll do, we'll gather them, and then we'll make sure that we do the drawing maybe by the end of the night or by Monday, and then we'll announce the winner on Tuesday's show. How about that? That work for everybody?
Yep. Bring your ass back here on Tuesday. That's what you guys
bring yourself back, but we will bring your ass back. But we will find you no matter what. We'll get that out to you. I did want to before we got to doctor rotations, Damian Lillard, what was up with him tonight? What did you see from him? I'll just say I thought he was passive. I thought he was super passive, especially in the first half. Second half, I think he took 3 shots in the first half, took 4 in the second half. So, because he finished 2 for 7. So I don't know. I couldn't call it. 7 turnovers was bad. So, I mean, he was not good tonight. And again, I don't know. I really don't have the answer. I saw some Portland fans, well, this is what he does on Sunday afternoons. But I mean, I guess you can, that's what you want to go with. Then on Sunday afternoons, Damian Lillard don't come to play. But that sounds like an excuse to me. I want to take this as just a one-off and say, okay, Dame, you get one out of your system. You didn't play well. You didn't shoot the ball particularly well, and you didn't, he was out there, but it was just very passive, especially in a moment where, again, the fourth quarter, everything is cooking, so I can understand. But in that first half, the offense looked abysmal. And even in the third quarter there were some issues until Giannis got everything going. So that's one of the things that I sometimes worry about. I almost can handle it better when Damian Lillard has a bad night because he just shot the ball terrible and he couldn't get anything to go. But on nights where you just don't shoot the ball at all, and then you have 7 turnovers on top of it, and you don't impact the game, in a ton of meaningful ways. He had some spot moments here and there, but tonight it just wasn't enough from Damian Lillard for me. And again, we got to call it out. I'm not gonna be pressed about it. I'm gonna put it in the memory bank and add it right in and right out. But Damian Lillard just got to be a lot better guiding your team, and especially when you look at a Dennis Schroder on the other end who's killing. You should have some pride about yourself. Like I said, I talked about him the other night against Boston, where it was like they started going at him, and I almost like, okay, we're gonna go at Damian Lillard, and Damian Lillard got some pride about himself. No, I'm gonna play some defense and get some stops. And you saw Bobby Portis do that defensively tonight. Because I think they tried to get him some switches too, and it was like, nah, I ain't going for it. Damian Lillard, you got to impact the game. You are the guy. It can't just be all Giannis and then Gary Trent and those. You got to be the guy. I mean, again, I didn't say you got to go 5-5 like Bobby Portis, but you got to play much better. And tonight just wasn't one of his best efforts. I'll say that.
Yeah, man, I hear you, man. And I definitely don't think this was Damian Lillard's best performance in a Bucks uniform by any stretch of the imagination. I do think Damian Lillard wears the letter O on the front of his jersey, right? That stands for Oakland, where arguably the best point guard city in America is. Shout out to Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, and the legendary Dame Lillard. So he didn't impact the game with making his shots, but he had 11 assists. So he found a way to impact the game in another variety, man. I saw a lot of good defense stuff. He had I don't know what it is about our defense, man. You got guys like Ajax, Dame making strips on the ball. Ball bounces off this guy's knee, this guy's left pinky toe, and somehow finds a way back into Brooklyn's hands. At some point, these basketball guys will get back on our side. The other thing I'm going to say about Dame is he had a couple of those things that would have hit for your 20-point parlay. No one cares about Trey or my parlays, but Trey would have hit that 20-point parlay. One, they had a little bit questionable travel on him when he scored a bucket off the glass. And then two, when are we going to get what a shooting foul is?
Man.
And it's not just Dame. AJ Green had a ball. He picked up, turned, faded, and all in the air in one motion.
Yep.
And it's side out. So I think that stuff is kind of factors into it. But it wasn't Dame's best game, but Dame still contributed in other manners, had big timely rebounds and stuff like that from the littlest guy on the court. So, hey, Dame, definitely one of your best shooting performance. And then, I don't know, man. I'm a golfer, so we tell you if you're going to be close, you should go play horseshoes instead of golf. But he had quite a few shots that were like halfway down, bounce up, kind of like that old AJ Green thing I was talking about earlier in the season. I don't know if we playing horseshoes is great, but we're not playing horseshoes, we're hooping. But hey, he'll be better Tuesday.
Yeah, I think the effort kind of played a part in Dame's play. Like there was just it was bad effort from him, and then he started forcing shots and missing badly, and then it's like he kind of let that, I feel like, impact him a little bit with the turnovers as well. But to me, I just chalk this up as, once again, Dame is a shooter, and some nights you're on, some nights you're not. And for the rest of the team to be able to pick him up and win, even with this performance, is good. I mean, and you got 6 rebounds out of him, so at least he was making other plays outside of dishing the ball too. So yeah, I'll just chalk it up as just a bad night from Dame. But I feel like you give a little bit of a better effort on the defensive end, and some of those mistakes on the offensive end they don't happen as much.
Yeah, well, like I said, your issue there is, I get it, we get the 11 assists, but he has 7 turnovers as well. So that was kind of was a negative on that piece. But I wanted to let you know, 118-113, Bucks beat the Nets tonight. Tuesday night, Emirates NBA Cup. Only thing smoking, only a couple games on Tuesday night. The Bucks will be one of the teams that plays the Orlando Magic for the right to go to Las Vegas, and you know where they're gonna be at.
I think we're at Curly's.
No, well, yes, but it's gonna be on TNT, so that's gonna be a national televised game. So now that you know there's gonna be a national televised game, where should you go?
Curly's.
You better go to Curly's, and you better bring a whole lot of $3.
Yes, sir. Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill. If you have $3, you can get bottles and pints. Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill out in Pewaukee, right out there on the lake, Lakeview Boulevard, Pewaukee, Wisconsin. Get you go to Curly's and grab some $3 bottles and pints for a national televised game. And hey, if you're there on Wednesday or Thursday night, you can play some bingo, play some trivia, and you know what they get if you're playing bingo and trivia and doing it well?
Tickets,
free tickets in Milwaukee Bucks. Section 102, row 23, seats 1 and 2. See, we're giving away stuff all over the place. You're giving away tickets if you go to Curly's. If you write Bobby in the chat, you're getting a poster with Bobby's with the WWE belt and the signature on it. You're getting all that. And speaking of NBA trivia, I want to ask you guys this. Who was the first non-American player to be named NBA MVP? the first non-American player to be named NBA MVP? Give you guys a couple guesses here. Who you got?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh, there you go. First guess,
Hakeem,
Hakeem, the Dream Olajuwon. There you go. Good stuff. So Justin, see, boom, you answer that right there. Maybe you in section 102, row 23, seats 1 and 2. Out there, go out to Curls, have some fun, enjoy yourself. Let's go to one of the questions on the King of Kings says Dame is sick of Chris. Remember, Dame was trying to get Grant to Portland. I don't know about that. And then somebody said, yeah, Alfred Camino for 3 says the Dream 414. Jason Zakim, yeah, you guys got it. King of King also says Bucks are wasting a generational talent like Giannis. Brook is cooked. Chris is cooked. It's not right. So what on Chris and Brook? Time to move both ASAP. I got to give Chris some more time. He played well in the playoffs last year. Again, is he what he was? No, but you got to give him some time and let him play. Because if he can get to what he is in the playoffs, and you have, I will say this, Chris at full strength in the playoffs, healthy Chris, healthy Giannis, healthy Dame. I just got to see it. And if he's cooked, he's cooked. I'm with you. If he's cooked, he's cooked. But if he's not, we're going to find out. And I think that's going to be a formidable challenge for anybody else that has to see him.
I mean, for a guy missing the first 21 games, I don't see cooked from what I see. I see a lot of good. And I mean, the only thing that Doris Burke and those other clowns said the other night that I agreed with was Chris's basketball IQ. You saw that tonight when he came down on the break and the behind the back pass to Dame on the wing, who moved it around. And then we got a Bobby 3 off of that ball movement and stuff like that. Chris isn't cooked. Brook isn't cooked. And kind of like what you guys mentioned, there's going to be certain bigs that Brook isn't going to be able to play against. But I feel like that's been Brook his entire career too. There's been certain guys that are just going to give him a challenge. And that's where we got to have Bobby step up and play this level of defense. Because if Bobby's playing like this, then you can interchange. And then you can go even smaller. You can bring TP in off the bench.
Right.
But Middleton, in the brief time he's showing, he's going to be good. And look, man, we get these 3 fully healthy when the playoffs come. Hey, man, I'm not scared of them Dunkin' Donut drinking, lobster roll eating boys up there with the dummies that say that Jason Tatum's better than Giannis. We coming at your neck too. We ain't scared of nobody.
Yeah, Chris isn't cooked. No way. I don't know how you really come away with 2 games off of missing 21 and coming to that conclusion. It's just I hadn't seen that from what I saw, and the fact that he is providing such a good option, late game already. Second game back, he's in the clutch and he's knocking shots down. Like, that's what you love to see from Chris Middleton. But I will say from a bird's eye view, like, if you don't win this year, if you don't get to the final, it's still something that you're going to have to look at in terms of reshaping this roster. But that's not to say just because he's cooked. I just feel like to get younger and to kind of revamp the squad you're building around Giannis.
Right. That's not for a discussion for today. 100%. I agree. And the other thing about Chris Middleton, since we're bringing it up, again, minutes have eviscerated for, so you have Ryan Rollins, who's on the men, who is still aching with a shoulder that's bad. But DeLon Wright was trying to work his way back and be that backup point guard. Well, the Bucks are bad. The Bucks essentially don't have backup point guard on the roster. Your backup point guard is your point guards are some type of a combination between Dame, Giannis, and Chris. That's your point. That's how you play point guard right now. So you're not playing with a backup point guard. So for that, we talk about coming back from missing 20-some games. I know maybe some things here and there aren't right with Chris Middleton, but he's having to handle the ball a lot as well. And again, 6 assists from him was clutch and key. Speaking of clutch and key, I want to talk about I do want to talk about Doc Rivers and his rotations. It was a question I was going to ask as the game was going on, but what you see oftentimes with Andre Jackson Jr. is he comes in, starts the game, plays whatever, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, whatever. He goes out. You don't see him again it's a very weird kind of thing where you don't see him again for the entire half, and then he starts the second quarter. And then there's some games where he starts the third quarter, starts the second half, and then he plays the same amount, and then you never see him again. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about Doc Rivers as a really coach, because you have to find those games, those times where, no, I need more Ajax. So how many times do we read the stats off and Ajax has 10, 11, 12 minutes, right? Like, that happens often. But tonight was a night where Doc Rivers said, okay, Schroeder's killing me on the other side. Gary Trent Jr.'s having a hard time keeping up with him. AJ Green's having a hard time keeping up with him. We're just not able to do this. And with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he brought back Andre Jackson Jr. And by the way, you can play Andre Jackson Jr. when they got, I know Ben Simmons didn't play a ton, but when Ben Simmons on the court, you basically playing offense. You playing 4. Everybody's playing 4 and 5. You got Andre Jackson Jr. playing 4 and 5 on one end. You got Ben Simmons playing 4 and 5. So it's basically an even matchup when Ben Simmons is on the floor with and matter of fact, Andre Jackson Jr., I don't know, dare I say, at this point, his career might be a better offensive player than Ben Simmons because at least he can hit the occasional three. Ben Simmons is scared to take it. So you had that moment happen. Then you have, you see, maybe this is a little bit easier for Doc Rivers to do, but you see Bobby Portis cooking, and it's like, well, let's play Bobby Portis over Brook Lopez down the stretch. And not only did he play Bobby Portis over Brook Lopez, he could have made the decision to say, okay, we're going to go super small ball and play Taurean Prince, but Taurean Prince hadn't scored. And so Doc Rivers gambled, because the gamble there is, at any moment, Bobby Portis can break down your entire defense by playing terrible. And he didn't. And so, and again, there were multiple possessions of good defense from Bobby Portis. So Doc Rivers gambled, playing Bobby Portis late in the game. You have Chris Middleton, which I think, of course, you're going to do. But you don't know what he's going to look like as he's come back. And he played well down the clutch. Again, he hit a couple clutch buckets, made some great assists, and even some hockey assists as well. And then you had Ajax out there who, despite Dennis Schroder having, a hell of a game, fourth quarter was relatively quiet. I think he hit an and one on him early in the fourth, and that was about it for Dennis Schroder to finish that game. So again, really good job from Doc Rivers. And tonight was a night where he had to, or at least this afternoon was an evening where he had to make every single right move. He had to make those work, and they all worked. The puzzle pieces fit in nicely today for Doc Rivers. A really good job from him making the right moves, making the right adjustments, and ultimately getting the Milwaukee Bucks another win.
So this is why you're playing 3 coaches at a time, man, because you saw something that Doc had, and this is where Doc's, vision is coming into play. These guys, I truthfully believe we got a lot of hoopers. Like you mentioned earlier, we got Ryan Rollins with the shoulder issue who could come in and run the backup point guard. We got a lot of guys out here. And at some point during the game, if you're not getting a bucket, that's okay. You got to sit down. I feel like I ain't gonna go that far. I feel like Doc is a very good, I was about to say top 3 coach in the NBA. But I think that. So here's my thing with Doc, right? And I know I'm teeing Chris King up. Like he about to foam it at the mouth. He about to lay me into it. Here's why I think Doc here's why I think Doc is top 3, right? I think Doc has never coached dogs since he left Boston.
True.
He coached a bunch of fairies. We'll call them that. Them dudes just skip around, want to get their numbers, want to get their basketball jerseys sold and finish line and stuff like that. Where now you got a Middleton, a Giannis, a Andre Jackson Jr. And let's not forget, I always bring it back to this UConn thing, but Chris King knows I'm a big Marquette fan. So I saw the way this dude dissected Marquette and every other collegiate program that was a blue blood. This dude has a basketball IQ too. Hey, you said dare to say he got a better game than Ben Simmons. Hell, Thanasis got a better offensive game than Ben Simmons with no Achilles right now. That dude, he a foot from the basket. All he got to do is jump over a piece of paper and it's a layup. And he passing out for a wide open 3. Andre, I think one of the things with Andre where he's struggling at is he's really starting to learn his role, but understanding that you can defer, but never forget, young man, you're a dog too. I love Andre Jackson Jr. I think he adds so much. The fact that he went up and got that block and then somehow they counted the put back on the block. Like, what the hell the NBA doing with this refereeing crap tonight?
That was an interesting play where, I didn't understand that. That's a good point. I didn't like that at all. How are you win the challenge. Andre has a good block. But so if the referee had blown the whistle a beat earlier, the play stops. I get the imminent possession rule that they've implemented. Yeah, I'm not understanding how that works. I don't like that at all.
And then don't forget the other alleged one where Brook didn't give the dude the opportunity to get out the way of the screen. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like that screen is no different than half the screens that Boston or Milwaukee set. Well, we ain't gonna talk about their screens. Brooklyn or Milwaukee set. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're trying to get too much analytic and too much scientific into the basketball game. Hey, man, he either fouled AJ Green or he did. Sorry, Chris. Go
No,
ahead,
good.
kill me too. I know I said that about Doc.
No, it's okay. I just feel like this is what I expect from Doc. Like, you saw that piss poor effort for the first, half, first, 3 quarters almost. And you got to make some adjustments. And I think, him being more willing to play some of the young guys. And, I mean, he was really forced to because nobody else was contributing earlier on in the season. But that's what you earn your paycheck for. Like, I could look at it as much as I can during the game and be like, yeah, the effort is not there. But he's got to be the one to do it, and I think he did it tonight, and that's a credit to him because that does happen too much, especially, I don't know, for some reason these Sundays, man. These Sundays, the effort's not there. These guys they're watching the 1 o'clock kickoff and instead of being out there and getting ready for the game. But, yeah, I mean, I just think that this is something I expect from Doc to kind of find the root cause of some of these effort issues and put somebody out there that can fix it or at least get you better effort.
Let's go to the Twitter comments and see what they are saying there. At MS_WI says, Bobby showing that championship DNA. Just one MKE says, great teams don't let teams like Brooklyn bring them down to the final seconds. This team will go as far as Dame takes us. I have no doubt that they can win a ring if we get the Dame who showed up every night during the 7-game win streak. I agree. Tonight was just a bad night for Dame. At Porque No Gui says, this version of Bobby Portis is a valuable member of the Milwaukee Bucks. Real defense, real offense. I just as soon see this dude ball out and prove everyone wrong than trade him for an old water cooler and a 2nd-round pick. So, again, I get it, but again, Porque, I'm with you. I hear it, but again, you got to stack days on top of days. So now the question is, Bobby Portis, let's go out and see what you look like on Tuesday. Because I know every now and then, broke clock right twice a day. I know every now and then he can come out and hit shots and do the things that we asked him to do. What are you going to look like on Tuesday night? Are you going to build on this? That's the question. At the Wisconsin kid says, Bobby deserves no slander for a week. I ain't going to go a week.
No.
Great game for him. I don't know what was wrong with Dame today, but he'll be fine. Gary Trent, 20 points. That's what we want. We had 60 bench points tonight. Let's do a few more here. At NYC, Randy says, was at the game live. Giannis is the best player in the NBA. Please appreciate him. He looks like the Greek god out there. Middleton is forever clutch. Bobby and Trent deserve MVPs today. Dame let me down a bunch, but great win. RMill53 says, Big Bob was good overall, especially at the end of the game. Gary Trent was good on offense, but food on defense. Pretty good Giannis game, but still made a lot of low IQ decisions. Lillard kind of sucked. Need to find ways to get AJ Green more shots, and we'll do a couple more. At Adrian_Travis says, Dame is a turnover machine. AJ Green needs more shots. And then the last one from Marcus Montgomery says, Bobby. So we'll enter Marcus Montgomery into the drawing. As long as he's following the Cream City crossover and he's subscribed as well, you can get into the drawing to win that.
Hey, can I push back at the Justin 1 MKE as far as saying the Brooklyn, like this Brooklyn team they've beaten 10 teams this year.
No Cam Thomas tonight, though. I think that's one of the things people talk about in the comments too. Is Cam Thomas is not available. Did you have any problem with that without Cam Thomas being there?
No, because with a young team like that, they're next man available. Those kids are gonna step up and they're gonna hoop, man. And the thing that we're talking about, and a lot of them dudes on the Twitter and in the comments that are killing Dame for it. Look, he had a bad game, and we still found a way to win this game. When we were 2-8, we were begging and pleading to beat anybody. So the fact that we won a game without one of the best players on our team playing his best, to me, is a positive instead of a negative. In Brooklyn, I wish the Hernandez guy, I know he probably changed his name 12 times on YouTube to kind of duck the smoke, because that's what Brooklyn Nets do. But I mean, I wish he was in the comments tonight, because I would tell him, man, hey, I don't know a lot about the back of the jerseys of the Brooklyn Nets, because, they're a bunch of mediocre middle first-round picks. Them dudes can hoop, though. And the crazy thing to me, for you brothers, we won a basketball game tonight. We go above 500, and somehow we're back into the playoff game tournament.
Yeah.
To me, I think Brooklyn actually played as a better team for a lot of this game. Like, I mean, they were moving the ball, and they're doing a lot of things that a basketball team does. And ultimately, our star power and the fact that we were just able to lock in won us the game, I feel like. But it's the association, guys. Like, teams are now further in their rebuild. This isn't last year. This isn't a couple years ago where these teams are just starting to, clean house, stuff like that. They're getting better. I will say that. Like, some of the teams that fall off and they're not good, or a lot of it's due to injuries. A lot of it's due to, maybe being in a rebuild. But I feel like this Nets team is progressing, especially when you get 30 plus from Dennis Schroder. Like, it's a good team. And I don't get the argument. With that said, I don't get the argument that, we're not beating the good teams. Like, I feel like pretty much everybody I feel like we have a target on our back a lot of times anyway. We're getting a lot of teams' best shots, and to be able to come out of it and to come out of a hole that we started in to start the year, I'm feeling pretty good about this squad.
Well, yeah, not only they're a solid basketball team, but they're also really well coached. There's Fernandez, the coach over there in Brooklyn. He's really good. He's impressive young coach in the NBA. I think he does a really good job with them. Again, the argument though, Chris King, is you're still, because Brooklyn Nets, they're not above 500, are they? I don't think they're above 500. The argument is you're 1-9 against teams over 500. That's the argument for the Milwaukee Bucks don't beat good teams. Whether and again, it's Brooklyn.
We haven't had our West road trip yet.
You haven't had the West,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, we really haven't been able to see it yet.
Well, my question is, the teams that they have played, that when they have had them, they have not won those games. Now, again, granted, a lot of them came early in the season. You had Boston a couple times early. You've had Boston 3 times. You had Cleveland as well. So you lost some of those games.
But some of those games, I mean, most of those games, I never felt like we were not competitive enough to win those games. So I mean, yeah, you would want to get some wins at the end of the day, but they did catch us at a bad time. We had stuff going on. Chris missed 21 games.
King and King, I want to answer this before we go to Game Ball. Says, what do y'all have against Jordan Poole? He would provide more than Chris. Come on. Come on, Doug. Here's the issue with
Jordan Poole.
Yeah, it's not even a knock on Jordan Poole. It goes back to what is best for your basketball team. And again, I don't get, and that's, again, a guy who I think probably could help if you wanted to make that move, but a guy who just got injured and is going to be out indefinitely. Like, the move there is a Brandon Ingram, that type of play. If you were to go somewhere, you want to go younger. But again, Brandon Ingram's had injury problems as well, but younger, can pass the ball a little bit, can handle the ball a little bit. My issue with Jordan Poole, very reckless. He's just a straight. And he can also Ingram can also play defense. Your issue is you're trying to replace a lot. If you're talking about Chris King Chris King. Chris Middleton is a right, exactly. Chris Middleton is a glue guy. He's your third option at this point on the team, but he plays defense. He can easily he can easily at times step up and be one of your leading scorers. He can easily step up at times and defend one of your better players for possessions at a time and make peak plays down the stretch. He can easily be the best passer on your team. He can easily be the best playmaker on your team at, again, not full time, but at times. And that's what when you talk about Jordan Poole, when you try to throw these names out, that's what you're trying to replace. So remember, when you try to look at what you could do for Chris Middleton, notice and don't forget, you're trying to replace a guy who's a sum of a lot of parts here.
I think when you pay attention to that broadcast the other night against the Boston Celtics, and forgive my memory for getting a dude's name that's not Richard Jefferson and not Doris Burke that's on the broadcast. But forgive me for remembering the other guy. You got Doris Burke with Jefferson. Yeah. Who's the third guy? I
can't remember.
The guy that's not glazing the Boston Celtics. How about that?
It wasn't Iron Eagle. Was it Eagle? It wasn't Iron Eagle.
No.
Mike Breen.
Yeah. So he talked about how the fact in halfway through that third or fourth quarter, Chris Middleton called Dame over when he saw something on the court. Dame is arguably one of the best players in the game. And what I'm trying to get at to the gentleman that's talked about trading Jordan Poole for Chris Middleton, Jordan Poole doesn't have that basketball IQ to make that recognition, and he doesn't have that respect from Dame to make that recognition to come over there and hear it. Chris Middleton is a locker room guy. And you can say whatever you want to say about locker room guys and stuff like that. If you're from the America's dairy land, the great land, the good land, like where we're all from, we saw it in baseball. There was a dude traded from that locker room and the Brewers completely collapsed. And I think that's what would happen if Chris Middleton was traded. His value speaks volumes, and not to mention, he can hoop better than Jordan Poole. Coming from a Milwaukee Rufus King dude. Hey, I rock with Jordan. I want Jordan to be great. Jordan's not Chris Middleton. Jordan, I don't know if Jordan's AJ Green right now. How about that?
Come
on. Yeah, to me, I just feel like, look, there's too many unknowns with Jordan Poole right now. I would say that there's some unserious basketball going on in Washington, and he's so far removed now from what was his rookie year or second year with the Warriors and winning that championship. He's so far removed from it that you can't even – I don't think you can even justify making that move at this point. And, yeah, like you said, Trey, he's a reckless guy. I feel like Chris is just – he's just reliable, man, and also a playmaker. Like, I don't want to have Jordan Poole passing up Giannis on a transition fast break to shoot a three when Giannis is open for a dunk. Like, that's the kind of stuff you're dealing with if you take Jordan Poole over Chris.
The other, yeah, and you guys both hit the nail on the head there, especially when we talk about from an IQ standpoint. There was a point in the game that and again, it's a conversation. We talk about Chris Middleton, it's a conversation for after the season, not during the season. But Chris Middleton, there was a play. This is what I love about him versus some of the other guys that we have. You just always have to be looking for Giannis on breaks. And Chris, not only is he always looking for him, but he knows the spots
pick and roll too.
All of that, and there was a moment where I don't even think people realized. Sometimes it happened a couple times where Chris got down on the field. Chris got down on the court during starting a fast break, and Brooklyn was good transition defense, got back, and Chris is almost, because he kind of pushed the ball a bit. He pushed it, but it was always waiting for Giannis to get down the court. Like it was. He wasn't trying to get into his own. It was, I'm waiting on Giannis to get down the court here. And not only is Giannis coming, but I'm making the defense because I'm still kind of attacking. But it was an attack, but you could tell he wasn't looking to score. He wasn't looking at – the only thing he's looking to do is get the ball to Giannis, who's going to be – who now, when he gets the eye or the head nod or the wink or whatever, is now coming full head of steam down the floor with unguarded, because you have to continue dropping. Because Chris Middleton is looking, oh man, he might do a turn. He might go base. The entire time it's 100%. He's just waiting on Giannis to get him. He's not even in the screen yet. He's looking on the TV broadcast, and Giannis is coming. So again, Chris does a lot of those things. Talk about the IQ of the basketball of the Bucks and it being low. Chris is not a low IQ player at all.
He hit him full in stride. You're right. And with Giannis going downhill, there's not a lot of guys that are stepping in the way of him going to the bucket. The other thing that and we see a lot of times on Twitter and in the chat of folks complaining about ill-advised shots from Bobby Portis. And like Chris King alluded to, what are we going to get from Jordan? He's going to do that thing, if not worse. Hey, Chris, you explained that so well. That was the point I was trying to get at, man. If you're even Dame is looking for Giannis when he's coming downhill. He's the most unstoppable player downhill in NBA history. Trey, you can give my Twitter if they want to fight me.
Yeah, and for those of you guys, I see a chat in X saying, Chris is old, slow, always hurt with a terrible contract. I'd be willing to move. Look, that's what we're monitoring, right? Like I think this is something that we're still monitoring, even though he is playing great basketball. Through 2 games, and he doesn't look like that injury is really harboring him too much. That's going to be something we're going to have to talk about at the end of the season if this thing does go awry. But at the end of the day, it just can't be for Jordan Poole is the consensus on this pod, right? Like nobody wants him over Chris.
Yeah, and I just don't think I think this year you got to let this thing ride and see if you can get to the playoffs healthy with Chris, Giannis, and Dame. And if you can't, you can't. If you do, I promise, if you can do that, you get to the postseason with all 3 of those guys healthy for the duration of series. I'm gonna take my money on that and see where we end up at the end of the day.
You're not getting first rounded. I would put my money on that. You're not getting first rounded.
You're not getting first rounded. And to me, the only team in the East that I think beats that. And again, it's gonna be a fun matchup. Is you're looking at the Boston Celtics and you looking at a hell of a fight between those 2 teams. I think maybe you need maybe a little more around the margins. That's your question about Bobby Portis and what happened. But again, that'll all be there to come. Let's do game balls. 118-113 victory for the Milwaukee Bucks. Game ball tonight. I'll go first. I'm gonna give it to Bobby Portis. I gotta give it to Bobby Portis tonight. He absolutely saved the day because again, despite the 30, you could easily give it to Giannis 34, 11, and 4, 3 blocks on. You could easily do that. But Bobby Portis, like he wins you that game, especially when Bobby Portis tonight was your second best player. He was the second best player on the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. That was how important, that was how much of an impact he made on this basketball game. And again, it wasn't just on the offensive side of the ball, because anybody, I don't say anybody, but a lot of guys can get hot from three, have a hot night from three, and score the ball well. Bobby Portis did it in a lot of different ways. Again, 3 blocks and 1 steal. You know what they call those, Justin? Stocks. They call them stocks. Steals and blocks. 4 of those things from Bobby Portis. So he did a great job tonight. He was a plus 12 on the night. And by the way, for everybody talking junk about Chris Middleton was a plus 16 tonight. But Bobby Portis was a plus 12 tonight. Just an excellent job all the way around. I'm giving the game ball to Bobby Portis.
You go ahead, Chris. You go before me.
Man, this is tough because I really do think Gary Trent Jr. kind of helped us stay in this one a little bit down the stretch. He was knocking down shots and creating and knocking down tough shots at that. But I'm gonna still go Bobby, man. The fact that he was able to knock down a 3-pointer about 4 steps out from the actual 3-point line to take the lead, that's a hell of a shot. And he did seemingly did it all game. I mean, 9 of 10 from the field. That'll win you. That'll win you a lot of games if you're getting that contribution. So I'm gonna go Bobby Portis with tonight's game ball, and hopefully we can multiply off of this. Hopefully he can do it again Tuesday. Hopefully he can do it again down the stretch if they win and go play the next game. So yeah, I'll go Bobby as well.
Logo Bobby.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So I gotta split my joint, right? And that's why I wanted Chris to go first. But hey, man, Bobby got 2 game balls from the homies on the cast tonight. Like it's up tonight.
Yeah.
So I gotta split my joint 3 ways, man. Is that okay with y'all, brothers? If I split it 3 ways, I like to dissect it.
Threesome.
Hey, we might to do one more for I forget that boy name, Shoulder lean boy. We gonna go 4 ways. So I gotta go number
Swinging.
1. Chris Middleton. Swing that thing, big dog. Chris Middleton. Andre Jackson Jr. Chris Middleton was just clutch, timely, good passes, good shots. Andre Jackson Jr., phenomenal defense, like Doc mentioned, breaking up the pick and rolls. Gary Trent Jr. is my 3rd because he did everything in a time where we need him to do it when no one else was hitting, when we went into a cold spell. And then lastly, after that victorious win and over the hardest game for me to watch in college basketball, Glenn Doc Rivers. I thought he had a hell of a coaching experience tonight, man. So Glenn, all 4 of those guys, man. Then obviously, I think the obvious one for me tonight would have been Bobby. So
okay, Justin giving out game balls to the entire lineup for the ball. Everybody gets a game ball tonight for Justin. So good job there. 118-113. The Bucks get the dub, did everything they needed to do, and again, it was a fun night. That's what you like to see from the Milwaukee Bucks, especially in the second half, finding ways to get W's as you approach the NBA Cup. Before we go to the look around, you want to give your any thoughts on Tuesday night's matchup against the Orlando Magic, or if you want to give thoughts on this 118-113 win over the Brooklyn Nets?
I think Orlando's super injury savaged right now, so we gotta go through it. We just gotta play basketball. Yep. Let's get to Vegas. Let's see what happens. I mean, is this the NBA championship? No, but it's another basketball game in front of us, and we've said this a couple shows ago. Anybody in front of us, we gotta beat them right now until we get up there to that top 3 of the NBA. So keep hooping, keep going. I like the things that when we're lacking something, someone else is stepping up tonight. So let's beat the Magic.
Okay, so the consensus I'm seeing with the Bucks is that you're not playing teams over 500. This is a 16-9 team, and a team that doesn't have Paolo Banchero. Yes, they are playing well, but at the same time, like, you should leave no doubt in this one. I think you have the better squad.
Or Franz Wagner.
Yeah, or Franz. So you should leave no doubt in this one. This should be BTA. And that's what I'm looking to see from the Milwaukee Bucks. You took one on the chin. It's tough to bounce back from a loss to Boston, but you did it. You won on the road, and you beat Brooklyn, who was playing well tonight. And I want to see that continue, guys. It's time to create some distance between this, hovering around 500. Let's keep it going, and then let's move on.
Yeah, I echo all of that, man. No Franz, no Paolo. Orlando's gonna come in gritty and gutsy and try to win a basketball game. I'm sure they want that money. But
Yeah,
you
so
should. There's
Jalen Suggs can get a hair transplant.
Hey, yo, that's
My
crazy
bad.
work.
My bad. My bad,
He
Magic
does.
fans.
He needs one, and Chris need one too.
Just
Oh
go with
man,
my cut.
Okay.
yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, nah, man. Have you seen Chris's he
Lately,
used to have more of a he used to have more of a he used to have a little
Body?
something there on the top, but the corners were back. But yeah, man, Chris falling off a little bit. Doc Rivers is I don't know. I don't understand how you have a skin tight that close. I don't understand it, but he finds a way.
using that
There's an
brush.
outline of a hair there. But yeah, or you can like say you just cut it off, knock that other thing on off, man. Go ahead and embrace it, 100%. Let's do a look around tonight. Let's see what's happening. Other Bucks were early, so there may not be. I don't know what else is happening tonight. Yeah, the 76ers, Sixers, another win. So they're increasing the win total a little bit here. They're now 7-15. So I'm sure Coach RJ will be crying in a little bit, talking about how good they are. A lot of games.
31 and 33, or 33 and 31, something like that tonight.
Who did? Oh yeah, Embiid had 31, 12, and 4. So yeah, good for him. He finally got back together. He started off horrible, and then I guess he did pick it up a little bit there. There's some other games going on tonight, but then the Wizards and Grizzlies are just getting started. 17-10. Grizzlies up right now. Pelicans and Spurs are tied early in the first. Suns are up 3 over the Magic right now in the second quarter. The Hornets are gonna look like they're gonna beat the Pacers. It's a 6-point game with 50 seconds to play. Absolutely. The Heat are up 8 on the Cavs at the half, and the Nuggets are up 71-48 over the Hawks right now at the half as well. You saw, of course, the Marquette over the weekend defeated Wisconsin. So that was interesting night. Or at least afternoon on Saturday. You saw SMU get into the college football playoffs over Alabama. I wonder. I'll say that because I saw some people. Oh, well, Alabama, you just got to not. Should we, should we cancel all of our non-conference games against good opponents? That's not why you didn't get in, though. And that's the thing. If you don't schedule some of those non-conference games, you wouldn't have been as close up there as you were anyway because of the games you lost in conference. So I don't to inferior opponents. I don't know if that's the answer either. SMU watched that game last night. Beautiful job by them getting back into it against Clemson, and didn't leave Clemson much time, but Clemson got themselves back and got a field goal. And then the only thing I wanted to mention was Bryce Young today looked like a franchise quarterback. I mean, he just did. I mean, he's looking like the guy we picked. And you can make the argument that over the past 4 or 5 weeks he's been better than CJ Stroud. So, and he's playing with a bunch of bums. Playing with Xavier, should have won the game today against Philly when Xavier Legette just dropped a touchdown in the end zone. So, good stuff from my guy Bryce Young. But yeah, any that y'all want to get into before we wrap this thing up?
Definitely the Marquette Wisconsin game, man. My household, that's a juggernaut. We just watched the game, and I thought that Greg Gard had an impressive first half. Really exposed Marquette in the first half, and then Shaka Smart exposed them in the second half. Cameron Jones coming to Dayton, Ohio. Chase Ross coming to Dayton, Ohio. Benjamin Gold coming to Dayton, Ohio. David Joplin, we coming, big dog. Hey, and then you got your Louisville Cardinals beating up on these Duke Blue Devils for our folks out here in the ACC country. And then the last thing for look around that I'll get into for our Milwaukee folks, shout out to the Pipe Bomb, and one more thing, Johnny, and any of those other Brewers fans in the chat. Willie Adames.
Yeah.
Man.
7 years, $182. So happy for my guy. Hate losing that dude. We talked about the locker room stuff about losing Chris. I think that's a big locker room loss for the Milwaukee Brewers, but not just for the Brewers. One thing that we fail to realize, and Trey, you kind of hit on this stuff with Drew Holiday before, as far as his on the court, but his off the court stuff. And when you lose a pillar in the community like that, it sucks, man. But excited for baseball. And more excited to go to Brewers games and Bucks games at the same time, man. Because I think we're going to be playing until we get some suntans out there.
Yeah, I can comment on Bryce Young. I feel like, man, he's really showed out. I think you're probably missing Deontay Johnson a little bit. I think that would solve a little bit of issues because he went over to Baltimore and nothing doing there. So that's just a tough loss. But yeah, I think they're gonna get some good talent around him, and he'll end up being really good. And then yeah, man, I'm excited for Saturday. We got the boys from the Cream City crossover linking up. UD Arena, 13,000 strong. We're gonna get a top. Well, we'll see where Marquette's ranked on Monday because they did take a loss to at Iowa State. It was a good team, but yeah, it should be a electric atmosphere. I'm hoping Trey is able to take a little bit more of a neutral fan standpoint, just so that we don't have anybody cheering for Marquette. I know Justin's going to do what he does, and I respect it, but it's going to be loud in there, fellas. It's going to be very loud in Dayton, in UD Arena on Saturday, 7 o'clock, Marquette and Dayton. And this is a game, guys, Dayton needs to win this game. They need some quality wins on their resume. Yeah, they beat the doors off of UConn, another Big East team. Let us in. But, you know, I think this is a game, like I said, Dayton has to win. They're coming up with a big 3-game stretch where they've got Marquette, then they've got UNLV on that Tuesday, and then they've got another top 25 team in Cincinnati. So if they're able to get a couple of those or even just one of those, they should be a tournament at-large team. So this is going to be a very important game in the city of Dayton and in college basketball, man. It should be a fun one. We got to figure out a way to stop Cam Jones, but they're going to have to figure out a way to shoot the ball better on the road because we saw what happened versus Iowa State, a team that we kept it real close. It took a flagrant foul in the last minute for us to lose that game. Marquette lost by 11. And so, yeah, man, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this is my mentality. This is how I'm thinking about it. I think it's a game that Dayton could very well win, and they shot 63% from three against Lehigh. I know it's Lehigh, but you know those home rims, they've been kind to us lately. Let's see if we can do it again.
I was just saying, and Justin, you can get in, but I just want to say, and I expressed it to you the other day. Watching from a neutral, again, I like Marquette. I like Dayton too. From a neutral standpoint, I just watched Marquette Saturday against Wisconsin, and I go, wow, that's a fast basketball team. Like, that is an explosive basketball team. They're running up and down the court. It reminds you of, like, you know, watching, you know how the Bucks last year, you know, they were slow and bold back in transition, and teams boat race them down and go. That's my fear when I see Dayton, when I see that matchup in my head play out. But it's going to be interesting to talk about before the show, the contrasting styles between Marquette and Dayton. So I think it is going to be a fun matchup. I do think Marquette has a little bit more firepower than Dayton. But again, with that, you know, we'll see. And to your point, Chris King, if Dayton's hitting their threes, it's going to be an interesting night.
Yeah, you're going to have to play 94 feet with Shaka Smart's boys coming to town, man. Think about Cameron Jones, Naismith Player of the Year. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there and just say it. He's Naismith Player of the Year. And the thing about the kid, though, you can't just go out there and guard him on the three-point line because he'll break you down off the dribble and go and get all types of floaters and stuff like that. Kind of a little bit like what we saw from Schroder tonight, man. I'm excited, man. Haven't been to Dayton in a long time. So excited to go up there, hang out with the homie Chris King, man. Hopefully y'all Dayton folks don't jump on me too much because we're going to be all blue and gold from the socks, from the rooter to the tutor. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I think just to kind of push back a little bit, he went into Cam Jones went into Iowa State, and that kid Keyshawn Gilbert put up 24 on him in a win, and he's been doing that consistently. So that's another guy you got to look out for in terms of Player of the Year. And then, yeah, man, I just think that, you know, I think Dayton has the opportunity to jump back on the national scene with the win here. I don't know if we'll court storm because we're more respectful than that if we do get the win. You know, and the students will be gone for break. But I'll tell you what, regardless, students or not, that thing's going to be packed, and they're going to be ready to be loud for the Flyers. So I'm excited for the matchup for sure, and hopefully we get some good content out of it. Maybe take videos of Justin after his heart's broken on Saturday night.
Hey, so real quick, one last thing. I think the important thing, and hopefully all of our folks watching and stuff like that, got a couple homies battling all types of ailments, had a good guy that watches every one of our podcasts. Nephew was just taken from us far too soon in Atlanta, Georgia. So these are the type of things with sports and what fun is all about, man. Being able to hang out with you two gentlemen, enjoy a good basketball game, regardless if Marquette wins or loses. I mean, the important thing to focus on, man, is being able to fellowship with two good basketball minds and sports minds. And man, this is what y'all need to do. So yeah, we hate the Boston Celtics. We hate this team. We hate that team. It's all fun and games though. But it's far bigger things in this life that are more important, man. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna cherish this time, Chris King. I know you're gonna show me a good time, my brother. And yeah, Guru, you can be as unbiased as you want to be. Just go check that law degree on the wall.
I feel it. I feel it. And yeah, absolutely right. Echo those sentiments. Like I said, it's all fun. Fun and games. It's gonna be a good time out in Dayton, Ohio, with the Cream City crossover. Good stuff, fellas. One more time for the people, Justin, if you would. Show us that Bobby Portis, just so we know exactly what we're getting here. Show us that Bobby Portis poster picture that you have, signed Bobby Portis picture. We are giving that out. You will get that if you are following the Cream City crossover and you comment Bobby. Follow us, do that, comment in the Twitter or on YouTube. We will put your names into a raffle and we will announce it Tuesday during the Orlando Magic game, during the Orlando Magic post game. I want to thank our sponsor tonight, Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill out in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. Go out to Lakeview Boulevard, right there in the Lake Pewaukee Lake. Go have some fun over there and enjoy some brewskis, all that good stuff out there. Tell them the Guru City, tell them the Cream City Crossover sent you out there. The good folks out in Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill, proud sponsor of the Cream City crossover. I want to thank everybody for listening and watching today. It's NFL Sunday, so you're going to see who's playing tonight. Who got the night game?
Chiefs and Chargers.
Yeah. Chiefs. Oh, wow. Okay, that'd be a good one. Chiefs, Chargers tonight. Looks like the Rams are going to pull out one over the Buffalo Bills, 44-42. I've been watching that a little bit as we've been doing the show. I mean, I was just back and forth action, deep shots, from both teams. But
the over is crazy.
But yeah, the over is, I'm sure the over 100% hit there with that one. Yeah, I want to thank everybody, man. And if you could like and subscribe to the show, Cream City Crossover is greatly appreciated. Tell a friend to tell another friend about the Cream City Crossover, giving you post-game shows after every Milwaukee Bucks contest. Sadly, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it on next Saturday because the Bucks should be in the Cup, but we're gonna be at the Dayton game. So we'll but you know what? But they're gonna win, and then we'll do because that would be the day of the semifinal game. But we'll do the championship game after that. Unless we can get JT to do it by himself, I don't think we will. But but yeah, man, appreciate everybody. We'll see. Yeah, maybe we can do a little video or something. We can get something out. Good stuff. That was fun. The Bucks win it tonight. They do what they do. Get themselves back over 500. 118-113 over the Brooklyn Nets. Gritty, gutsy win over the Brooklyn Nets this afternoon. This has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Guru Check Out Start.
Justin.
Chris King.
If we are your enemy, it's only because I did. To tell you the truth, don't take no wooden nickels. Courage.